Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, June 28, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. Let's all go through to October so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so the big story on everyone's lips today is the fact that we finally have our tropical depression. We can see it right here across the main development region spinning away, and we will definitely be talking some more about it later on. But let us first take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we still have that ridge of high pressure across the northern section of North Atlantic that we know is responsible for steering all of these tropical waves from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see that area flow pressure associated with tropical depression 2 right there. A tropical wave to the west of it about to affect sections of the eastern Caribbean, and another tropical wave to the east of it right there to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. If we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see that flow of low-level clouds pushing from east to west, all courtesy of the winds provided by the ridge of high pressure right there to the northern section of North Atlantic. We can see the leftover clouds associated with what was that strong tropical wave that affected portions of Jamaica on Wednesday into Thursday. All of the activity now off to the west of the island, definitely doing a number on sections of Cuba, sections of the Cayman Islands, about to affect sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, and it's already even affecting portions of Honduras. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave that's about to affect portions of the eastern Caribbean. The clouds associated with tropical depression number 2 spinning away right there off to the east of that tropical wave, and the other tropical wave right there closer to Africa. If we focus our attention on what's happening across Jamaica right now, we can see that most of the clouds that we had across the island today definitely clearing out as we speak, making way for more in the way of fair weather. Even although we do see some dots of clouds coming into sections of maybe St. Thomas as we speak, we'll see exactly what unfolds if they actually get some isolated showers this evening. But if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we don't see much happening. Most of the clouds definitely dissipating as we head into the night. Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar images are still not showing because the Cuban Doppler radar has been down since 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time. Hopefully they get it sorted out soon. But we do see on the Cayman radar that we have some rainfall that's definitely exiting the west coast of the island, to show that we definitely had some rainfall across especially the northwest. We're going to be talking about that shortly. Either way, even the Guantanamo Bay Cuban radar show that we have some rainfall right there to the north and east of Portland. We know this radar only shows the northeastern portion of the island. We have to be depending on these radars because we know the Jamaican radar has been down for a couple of years now. Hopefully they get it sorted out as soon as possible. If we remember yesterday's video, we stated that we would have had some rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes during the morning, and some rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes during the afternoon. We know southern parishes in Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes on the bottom side of the island, so Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While eastern parishes in Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. While northern parishes, we're talking about Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? Even although we had some clouds coming into sections of the east more than the south, as we can see here, we did indeed have some clouds coming in to sections of St. Thomas later on. And we also had that rainfall across the northern portion of the island, just as predicted, as we can see here by the visible satellite images that were, by the way, posted at 1:35 p.m. on Friday afternoon on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we definitely see that we had that cloud cover and thunderstorm activity across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica more than anything else. And even if we take a look back at the infrared satellite images of Jamaica, we can see it even better. All the high cold cloud tops that are represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and blacks. So the thunderstorm activity definitely did a number on sections of St. Mary, Northern St. Catherine, St. Anne Trelawney, St. James, definitely got the brunt of it. Sections of Hanover and Westmoreland. So this indeed confirms what was predicted in yesterday's video for today's weather across the island. And we at least had one commenter confirming the rainfall in their area. Gunnar Princess on her Twitter page stating rolling in Mobe. No, so they definitely had some thunderstorms. Kingston, on the other hand, was a mostly sunny day. Some persons got to be productive today with the sunshine. It wasn't that hot at all. We're definitely grateful for the sunshine, as we can see halfway through here at around 12:25 p.m. Keep in mind that you can see more live streams like this on See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with that channel. So if you'd like to see some more live streams of the corporate area, as you know, they show halfway tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, and even the Bogwalk Gorge, just head over to that YouTube channel and you'll see for yourself. If we take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours, we can see that it does indeed paint a picture of where we had a rainfall today. Definitely across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica for the most part. Even although this map isn't 100% accurate or 100% to scale, especially with the rainfall totals, it does paint quite the picture that yes, these are the areas that got the rainfall. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on for Saturday, temperature should be down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we see Jamaica right here embedded in more gray colors than anything else. We know the gray colors are representative of 0 on the map, the key actually. That represents average temperatures or normal temperatures. We can see normal temperatures for majority of the Caribbean in general. Most of the hot or above normal temperatures seem to be across portions of the United States, sections of Northern South America as well. And as it relates to Jamaica, we know our average temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature forecast for Saturday. As it relates to the dry air map mixed with a bit of Saharan dust, we can see that Jamaica should be in the clear for now into tomorrow. We see that most of the Saharan dust and dry air seem to be right there across especially the northern main development region to the north of tropical depression number 2. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are definitely in consensus. If these images will load, don't know why they're glitching out, but we can see that as usual we have the blues surrounding the island. That's representative of 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from about 15, maybe 10 to 15 knots at most, maybe gusting to 20 knots in some spots. And we see the general direction for these winds coming in from the east southeast in a way, on the south coast, coming more so from the east on the north coast. Either way, we have that air piling up again across sections of the central and western portion of the island. So we can't rule out some isolated showers or thunderstorms affecting sections of the central portions and the western portion of the island. And whatever comes off of the sea tomorrow definitely affecting the eastern portion of the island. So maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica for sure. And with the upper level winds coming in from the north tomorrow, it could definitely favor more of that cloud cover if we get the thunderstorms on the north. So we could get some more cloud cover if we get some cumulonimbus clouds to be blown off towards the south across the southern portion of the island. So St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And if we actually take a look at the rainfall forecast now for Jamaica before we head into tropical depression number 2, soon to be Beryl, we can see that we have some blues that represent rainfall. And this is valid for 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's tonight, which is actually 10 p.m. Jamaica time. We see the blues. The Euro has it, especially on the northern portion of the island, the eastern, especially to the waters to the southeast of the island. GFS is a bit more robust, having that blues that represent rainfall surrounding the island. We'll see if that actually happens, but we see rainfall definitely in store and in consensus on both supercomputer models. Skipping ahead to about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 4 a.m. Jamaica time. Where do we see the blues? Where do we see the consensus? Definitely some more across the east, St. Thomas and Portland again. So that's 4 a.m. Skipping ahead now to about 10 a.m. on Saturday, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. Still see the consensus for more of the blues that represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica, especially St. Thomas getting in on that. Then we see that by afternoon now, this is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And where do we see the blues that represent rainfall? Mainly across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So it could be affecting sections of Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, sections of northwestern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. The Euro is a bit more robust, still showing more of that rainfall across the east, but it does paint a picture that yes, it's in consensus with what the GFS is showing for central and western Jamaica. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecasts are in consensus that there's going to be some amount of rainfall affecting portions of the island within the next 24 hours. Keep in mind that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. I'm not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but we can see the totals are in consensus, showing up to at least 0.61 of an inch of rainfall across portion of the island on the Euro. GFS showing up to at least 0.48 across the west, maybe even more on the eastern side. Either way, it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. We're in the month of June. We're in our secondary rainy season. We know our primary rainy season is anywhere from August into November. So we're in our secondary rainy season. We usually get up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. That's almost 5 or almost 6 inches of rainfall, if I'm not mistaken, considering that 25 millimeters of rainfall makes up 1 inch. So I guess almost 5 inches, if not more, is usually expected during the month of June. So I guess we're on track, especially with the rainfall that we've been experiencing, especially in the beginning of June, as well as this week, and we're indeed grateful for that. Alright, so let us take a look at the usual activity that's expected across the Atlantic during the month of June. So we can see that as we wrap up the month of June, it actually, depletes. It goes down with the amount of activity that's expected as we head into July. But that's not the case at all, because in reality, there's a lot of activity taking place. Have a look at this. This is the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the U.S. National Hurricane Center. As a matter of fact, let's see if they updated it. Alright, so they haven't updated it as yet as of the current time, which is 6:32 p.m. on Friday, June 28th. So we can definitely see that we have the areas of development still here. That tropical wave that was affecting Jamaica yesterday and the day before, now off to the far west, about to make landfall or hit portions of the Yucatan Peninsula, including Belize, and it has a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days as it enters the Bay of Campeche. We'll see exactly what unfolds, but we're going to be focusing our attention on this 30% system as well as tropical depression number 2, soon to be tropical storm Beryl. And it wouldn't be surprising if it became a tropical storm tonight at their 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 10 p.m. Jamaica time update. So we can see here on the 30% chance system, a tropical wave located, let's see if we can even zoom it up and get it bigger. A tropical wave located several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, southwest. So right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. They definitely got that right. It's producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some slow development of the system is possible next week while it moves generally westward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central and western tropical Atlantic. And this is definitely the system that the GFS has been showing to the east of the other system that we've been monitoring for the past week, and now the Euro has come on board. So now the Hurricane Center is actually highlighting it. So it could be a case where we have one after the other. Hopefully they don't hit the same area twice. That would be a very bad situation. But if we actually take a look at these systems, we can see the cloud cover associated with them, to be honest. So looking back at the latest infrared satellite images, we can definitely see tropical depression 2 spinning away. If I'm pretty sure that it's already a tropical storm, if I'm not mistaken. And we can also see the lot of clouds associated with the other tropical wave that's expected to develop as it pushes towards the west in the heels of tropical depression 2. And they have a lot of warm water to work with. So who knows, maybe they might even make it up to major hurricane status, especially with the lack of wind shear. We're going to be talking about that wind shear shortly. But first, let us take a closer look at this system. So before the sun went down, we can definitely see that the upper level cirrus clouds are starting to fan out associated with this system. A lot of convection taking place. We can actually see the low level flow coming into and wrapping into the center of the system. And we can see the very white clouds right there that indicate some thunderstorms. We can even see it better right here on the latest infrared satellite images of the system, showing the high cold cloud tops, the deep convection, the yellows, the reds, the blacks, and the purples. Definitely a bad situation here starting to unfold as it makes its way westward and takes advantage of that very warm sea surface temperature. And the thing is, the wind shear isn't even going to be that much because the upper level high pressure is definitely staying on top of the system as it pushes into the windward and leeward islands right there. More so the windward islands. We don't see that strong wind shear. We know the wind shear is represented by the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, and we can see the lines associated with the wind shear. We see more whites than anything else. They represent little to no wind shear. We see some strong wind shear, however, up here across the northern portions of the basin, so sections of northeastern South America. We see some westerly wind shear, or more west-southwesterly wind shear to the north of the system. Some northeasterly wind shear right here across the Gulf of Mexico. But for the time being, majority of the Caribbean and the main development region doesn't have much in the way of wind shear, which makes way for the upper level high pressure to set over the system, for the system to breathe and even strengthen some more. And the dust isn't even really doing much to prevent the system from developing. The system is more squashed closer to the intertropical convergence zone, so it has a lot of moisture to work with. Most of the dry air and the dust off to the north of it, although it's definitely ingesting some of this dry air, it is still going to beat the odds, especially considering how warm the waters are around the system. If we take a look at what the supercomputer models are forecasting, so we're just going to be looking at the latest. So first we're going to be looking at the 12Z Euro model, then we're going to be looking at the 18Z run of the GFS model, just to show you that these models are always changing. So let's go out in time. First of all, let's look at our timestamp. So we're looking right here at 168 hours. We're going out to 168 hours. And we're going to be focusing our attention on this area right here at the bottom, because the system is definitely going to be coming in from this side. So first things first, let's take a look at the key. We know the key represents rainfall up to even the yellows and oranges that represent up to 6 to 12 inches of rainfall. Let's see exactly what unfolds as we go out in time. So just like the hurricane center, we're going out to the next 168 hours and we see the system coming in from the east. Then look at where it is located by 18Z on Monday. That's 1 p.m. on Monday on the Euro model. Definitely affecting portions of the windward, even section of the leeward islands, getting in on some of that with some greens, especially up there near maybe Antigua and Barbuda. But the brunt of it seems to be across portions of Barbados, section of Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, maybe even making it as far north as Martinique and section of Dominica. Then as we push forward in time, we see where the Euro has it by 18Z on Wednesday. That's 1 p.m. on Wednesday. That's according to the Euro, passing close by to the south of Jamaica. And even if we remember yesterday we had the Euro showing it more closer to the Central American coast, closer to Honduras, Nicaragua. And we see that by the end of the 168 hours, the system's friend, maybe that's Chris, is right there to the south of Hispaniola, following in Beryl's heels. Let us see what the GFS is showing. Now, let's see the consensus, because we know we're looking for consensus. Alright, so we see it definitely has a stronger system by 18th on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, going into the Windward Islands. Could be even hurricane strength, especially considering what the Hurricane Center has forecast. Definitely hurricane strength. Going out in time, we see where the GFS has it now, to the northeast of Jamaica by about 0Z Thursday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So we see some differences with where it is expected, but we see whatever this is, possible Chris right behind it, moving in its heels, maybe pushing into Hispaniola instead by the end of the 168 hours. Either way, we still have some uncertainty with what the systems are expected to do, and we're just going to be going back out, especially considering the forecasts we see right here. The Euro has it to the south of Jamaica by 18th on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. The GFS has it to the north of Jamaica, so there's definitely some uncertainty with where it's expected. So let us go back to the Windward Islands now with what we're more certain with for the time being. So we can definitely see that by 18th on Monday, there's definitely consensus. 1 p.m. on Monday, both of them are in consensus. That is going to be affecting portions of the Windward Islands, and that is what is the main takeaway here, which explains the cone of uncertainty. The cone of uncertainty, especially right here in the white, is where they're definitely more certain about. The Hurricane Center is definitely certain that it's going to be a storm by 5 p.m. on Friday, then a possible hurricane by Sunday into Monday, and definitely affecting section of the Windward Islands as a hurricane by Monday afternoon. But as we can see here in the less than white colors that we just saw, so more so greater kind of looking colors in a sense, they're not so certain with where it's going to be headed. Will it be headed more to the north? Will it be headed more to the south, like what the Euro is showing? Which is why they actually threaded the needle right here and put the H in between, which is why we're seeing the H that represents hurricane status. We know hurricane has to do with right here what we see on the key on the bottom, anywhere from 74 to 110 mile per hour winds. We know anything that exceeds 110 mile per hour winds would be a major hurricane, which explains the M. We don't see any M's as of yet, but it could later show up on future updates. These maps are always updating. The Euro showing something different yesterday with the system more south. GFS showing something different with the system hitting Jamaica. This is why we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds as we go out in time. Either way, for now, we see that the system is definitely, for certain, going to be hitting somewhere across the Lesser Antilles, the Windward Islands. So I hope that persons over there are getting prepared We know these systems pack up punch, the strong winds, the heavy rainfall. If you have friends or relatives out there, tell them what is coming. Some very strong winds, as we can see here. The tropical storm force winds, as represented by the oranges, the reds, represent 50 miles per hour to what? 80 or 90 miles per hour passing through the Windward Islands. If you have friends or relatives in Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, tell them that something is coming. Tell persons in Tobago that something is coming. Tell persons in Grenada, Trinidad that something is definitely coming their way. And I also like it how the Hurricane Center has added a rainfall total forecast, showing all the rainfall that's expected. And they've showed it here in inches and millimeters. I really like this map. So we can see that for the future, we have somewhat of rainfall expected. Keep in mind that this map is showing, so this was what I was looking for. I was looking for the time period. So we can see that this is from 12 UTC on January 29th. So this is about 7 a.m. on Saturday to 7 a.m. on July 2. That's about Tuesday morning. This is all the rainfall that is expected within that time frame. And we see that they definitely have the light greens that represent up to 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, or 25 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. Then they have the darker greens that represents 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, which is actually 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. Then they have the yellows that represent 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. We see that is possible for sections of Barbados, sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of St. Lucia might get in on more of the 2 to 4 inches. Not seeing any gold colors, oranges or reds as yet. We usually see those, especially if the systems are moving slowly, but considering that it's moving somewhat fast and it's not stalling out or anything like that, we won't expect such tremendous rainfall at all. But either way, we know all of this rainfall can definitely cause some amount of flash flooding, and considering that it's a hurricane, strong winds are definitely expected. And considering that it is June 11 to June 20 time period. As a matter of fact, I think I'm looking at the wrong maps. Let's look back. So we're in June 21 actually to June 30 time period. And from 1855 to about 2009, these dots represent where we've had systems form across the Atlantic. Definitely across portions of the Western Caribbean, section of the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico. Only one system has formed between that time period across the waters to the northeast of South America. Another system right here closer to Africa. I guess they're going to be having to put some more dots here, considering the tropical waves that are coming shortly, considering this time period. So we're definitely heading into some very active times, especially considering the very warm sea surface temperature. So we see the next name on the list, Beryl, that we could have tonight if not tomorrow morning. Then Chris right behind it. We'll see exactly what unfolds before then. We'll even see if we can get Debbie out of one of these systems as well, because we do have 3 systems, even although that one across the Western Caribbean has a low chance of development. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. We'll see if it runs out of time before it makes it across land. Alright, so that's it for Beryl and the other systems. Let's talk about the rest of the Caribbean. So we can definitely see that the tropical wave is definitely doing a number on the Western Caribbean, anywhere from Nicaragua northward, Honduras, the Cayman Islands, El Salvador, soon to be Belize, and the Yucatan Peninsula getting in a lot of rainfall. Section of Western Cuba definitely got in on some of that as well. You can also see the tropical wave to the east of Trinidad and Tobago, definitely about to bring a lot more rainfall there before tropical depression number 2, soon to be tropical storm Beryl. And there's also a lot of activity, a lot of troughing taking place across the northeastern Caribbean, which explains why it is so moist. We can see a lot of low-level clouds pushing in. So they're definitely even getting on some isolated showers even as we speak. So it's not dry at all, because if we take a look at the northeastern Caribbean's Doppler radar images, we do see all of the greens represent some amount of rainfall, some isolated scattered showers in general. near Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of Puerto Rico definitely got in on some of that. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images from about 1:30 p.m. today, we can definitely see that section of southwestern Puerto Rico definitely got in on some strong thunderstorms, actually, as indicated by those yellows and reds. Sections of the US Virgin Islands definitely got in on some of that. And even right now, as of 6:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we still see that they have a lot of activity taking place. As a matter of fact, let us see if the Hurricane Center has updated their 7-day graphical tropical weather look. Alright, here we go. So it just came out at 7:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:36 p.m. Jamaica time. Now we have a code orange, a medium chance of development for this system to the east of tropical depression number 2 developing. So they've stated here, our tropical wave located several hundred miles southwest. Okay, so basically it's the same thing. So it's just increasing in the amount of percentage, or the percentage chance of it actually, developing and pushing towards the west northwest. So basically the same thing like what we just read. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can definitely see the crazy amount of rainfall to the south of Barbados associated with the tropical wave, definitely already affecting sections of Tobago, Trinidad next in line. Some of that rainfall already affecting sections of Barbados, with more coming in from the east. Some of that rainfall already affecting sections of Grenada and the Grenadine Islands. And we also see some more coming into sections of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica later on tonight. If you take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall across sections of Florida, the Western Caribbean associated with that tropical wave 94L. You can also see that rainfall to the east of Nicaragua, some rainfall right there to the east of the Caribbean, just like what we just saw. As relates to the wave forecast, so we're going to be loading these images quickly. I don't know why they're glitching out, but we do see that we have more blues than anything else across majority of the Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. While we have more purples across the Western Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 2 to 3 meter wave heights associated with 94L. And it makes sense that the winds are definitely kicking up where we have Tropical Depression 2. We see more purples and reds that represent up to what? Anywhere from 2 to maybe up to 5 or 6 meter wave heights, because the system is definitely going to be kicking up the ocean with the very strong winds that are expected. If we reload these images, we can see that the Caribbean is definitely going to be getting in on those greens that represent anywhere from 10 to 20 knots coming in from the east, as we can see for the most part. As a matter of fact, let's load these up to Saturday. Thank you very much. So coming in from the east, but we can also see that the system right here definitely starting to spin around the area of low pressure. We see that the strongest wind should be on the north side of the system, as represented by these yellow colors, up to what, 25 knots or more, as it continues to strengthen and pushes towards the west. But let's talk rainfall for the rest of the Caribbean. We can definitely see that within the next 24 hours, these are the areas that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. This rainfall across the Windward Islands has nothing to do as yet with Tropical Depression number 2. It's definitely just that tropical to the west of Tropical Depression number 2. So definitely a lot of rainfall in store for section of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, areas like Venezuela, Guyana getting in on the mix. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this, up to 1 inch of rainfall expected tomorrow within the next 24 hours. Some isolated shores definitely in store, or some more isolated shores in store for sections north of there. So St. Lucia, section of Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, section of the northern Bahamas, Florida. We see that the southern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos should be in the clear for the most part. But section of Cuba, section of the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan Peninsula, definitely getting in on a lot of rainfall. As we can see, those purples that represent up to 3 inches of rainfall or more on both the Euro and the GFS models. More reds that represent 1 inch of rainfall expected for Belize, section of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, section of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, section of Venezuela, and Guyana and Suriname, as well as French Guyana. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. I don't know, when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.